What up, everybody? This is the Dr. Football Ultimate Patriots Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Dennis Tien, recording remote tonight. Joining me, as always, the CEO of HedgeBetter from the HedgeBetter studio in Braintree, Mass., Justin Fine. We are talking everything Super Bowl preview tonight. This is the preview edition of the podcast. We got a great episode planned. We're going to look at this matchup Sunday, discuss some prop bets,
Nice.
take a look at a few different angles on this game, and maybe talk a little bit about the Pats. Justin, how's that sound, my man? How you doing tonight?
That sounds fantastic. I'm doing great. You know what? It's a great weekend. I'm getting ready to go on vacation. You got the Super Bowl. Vibes are good, I gotta say. Going to leave the cold weather behind, and I'm feeling good about it.
It's been a really bad winter. I feel like it's been really cold.
Frigid.
We haven't had a ton of snow, but the snow we've had has stuck around for weeks. It's a great time to get out of here.
Yeah, fantastic time. The wife's company trip that they send us on every year, always a blast. So looking forward to it.
And you're going to Puerto Rico.
Dominican. DR.
Dominican.
Yes.
Dominican. That's
Yep.
right. There you go. So you're going to Dominican, DR.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. Good, man. All right. Well, let's get into this whole Chiefs-Eagles matchup. Are you going to be able to watch the game down there, Justin? You must be able to, right?
So they say they're doing something for the Super Bowl.
Oh, your place already?
So they have said that they're putting on a Super Bowl viewing party. I think they got like a big projector or whatever. So I'm banking on it. I can't imagine they would make us go without the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
Course.
Fingers crossed.
No, it's not like you're going to Timbuktu either.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
going to DR.
Exactly.
There's got to be a place with the game on down there. So that's good, man. Well, let's get into it because we got a lot to break down this game from a bunch of different angles. But I want to start with this. I was on the DraftKings website preparing for this episode, and I happened to stumble into Super Bowl futures for 2026, next year's Super Bowl, okay? And I was really tempted. I had the light bulb over my head to say, I'm going to take the Patriots to win the Super Bowl next year as a long shot. Okay. And I don't think that is – I mean, I know that they're coming off back-to-back 4-13 seasons, and but straight – I mean, with Drake May in place and Vrabel in place,
anything's possible.
In my wildest dreams, I can see a pathway to take a long shot bet. I was less than impressed with the odds that I got back. I think I'm a little behind the curve on this one because the Patriots right now are plus 8,000 to win the Super Bowl next year. And while that sounds like a lot for a team coming off back-to-back 4-13 seasons, I expected to get at least 10,000 plus back.
Well, I guess so. Question, who was below them? Like, who were they above?
I can tell you right now, it was all the I'll look it up. It was all the usual suspects that you would suspect it to be in terms of like Carolina, the Raiders, the Giants.
Right.
If you talk for a second, I can pull it up.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, well, you know what? I guess that's the thing. Plus 8,000. It sounds like a lot, but like you said, it's all comparative, right? Who are they ahead of? Who's behind them? I mean. I don't hate it at all. I think it's definitely something where if the money is there and the value's right, why not throw a little bit of a flyer on it? I mean, I'm sure the favorite's probably opening up at like a plus 400, 500, 600, maybe 700, something like that.
So, I mean, the Ravens, the Chiefs, they were all like the 3, 4, 500.
Yeah. Okay.
Type range.
So, I mean, I guess you're getting good value, but I'd be curious to see who they're ahead of and what some of the long shots are.
I honestly don't think it's great value. I feel like you could do so much better.
Yeah.
That I just feel like I would expect it to be more for a team that's been so bad the last 2 seasons. But I think people are expecting this Patriots team to be a lot better next year, Justin, is I guess what the take home from all this is.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm one of those people. I think people have a lot of reasons to be optimistic. You know, the quarterback, the coaching staff, the ability to bring free agents in draft. I think there's a lot to look forward to.
There is, and the path is there. And I'll say right now, the more I think about it, I already called this 2 weeks ago, but I really expect this team to make the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I do too.
And after 2 4-13 seasons, there's absolutely no excuses for the Patriots not to be in the postseason next year. You've got May. If he is the real deal that everyone just kind of assumes he is, there's no reason why they shouldn't make the postseason next year.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially like you said with that schedule. Yeah, they have a 9-8, 10-7 team written all over them. I think maybe even better.
Yeah. I mean, one take I do want to share too about May, and I just kind of hit on this
Yeah,
is like I do think listening to the interviews this week with a lot of like the national writers that are coming and speaking with the local guys, and
yeah,
like May is getting so much respect now, and I don't want people to think that this is criticism or non-belief that Drake
right.
May is going to be a good quarterback, but I just I still am not convinced that Drake May is the guy yet. And I love him. I think he's got a huge upside. I do love what he showed this year, but he's 1-9 and he turned the ball over a ton. So I'm still kind of needing to be convinced that Drake May really is a franchise quarterback, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's done anything to solidify it, right? Like you said, there's a lot of good pieces there, a lot of good things that we've seen that lead us to be optimistic. But look, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not convinced that 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL are true franchise quarterbacks. Like you really do got to go out and improve it, and you got to have success. Having a good rookie year, showing some flashes of athleticism and talent, like that's great. But you got to see the progression. You got to see it materialize into wins and winning season and chance to contend and the ability to win big games and make big plays. And those are things that are yet to be determined. So yeah, cautiously optimistic.
He needs to win games.
He has to win games.
That's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. Like you can look good, fine, but if you're 1-9, the
Right.
point of this whole thing is to win football games. So
Yeah.
prove you can win games at an NFL level. And as much as I thought Drake did look good this year, there were a lot of things he did that cost this team opportunities to win football games.
Yep.
Some of those things were his fault. Some of them weren't his fault. But until he goes out and does it, I think there is a lot of doubt, and not just a little doubt. Like it's not just a little.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of doubt. You need to come out and actually win games next year.
You do. And look, he had a bunch of excuses in his favor this year, right? He was a rookie. Yeah, the
All
coach,
valid.
the coach, that's valid. The coaching was poor. That's valid. The roster was pretty bare. Valid, right? Those are all things that should be addressed heading into year two. He's no longer a rookie. You have the right coaching staff in play, and they're hopefully going to do everything in their power to give them some more weapons on the line and to throw to. So, those excuses start to go out the window very quickly for Drake May.
Honestly, going into next year, Justin, I'll even go a step further. Like the excuses are out the window. Like we
Yeah.
all graded May on a curve this year, and rightfully so,
Yeah.
because this was a truly poor situation from every angle. I would say the worst coaching in the league. I would say the worst offensive line in the league.
Yep.
And I would say the worst receivers in the league. And it's why so many of us are willing to cast a blind eye
Right.
past when Drake May didn't produce results. Fine,
Exactly.
I'll accept that. You're not going to be able to make those excuses next year. They're going to be better on the field. They're going to have, I think, tremendous coaching for a quarterback between
Yeah.
Vrabel, McDaniels, Marone, Thomas Brown, Ben McAdoo staying.
Yeah.
A lot of experience on that staff. So look, do I need him to be 14-3 next year? Of course not. But he needs to show that he can win games. And I'll tell you this, like if we get to October and Drake May of 2025 looks like the Drake May of 2024, then I'm going to be leading the train criticizing that, as much as I love the kid and think
Yeah.
he is, a very promising prospect.
Yeah, I agree. And what's funny is I think one of the things that potentially is going to cloud that is, you hear a lot of comps to like a young Josh Allen, right? That's one that I've heard a lot of. And Josh Allen took what, like 3 years, 4 years to like fully develop?
Really, really 2 full years. They made the playoffs in Allen's third year, but he started to look a little better to the end of the second year.
Yeah. So, all right. So call it a good 2 years, maybe even 3, depending on how you're looking at it. And it also coincides with him taking that next leap, getting a true number one. So, I mean, look, he's only going into the beginning of year 2. He still doesn't have a true number one. So I would say there are still things to be looking forward to, and to wait for. But he's got to act fast. He's got to show some rapid improvement to start the season. I mean, even if they don't make any improvements to his offensive weapons, he should come out and look better than he did last year.
He should. He absolutely should come out and look better than he did last year,
Yeah,
if only because he's going to have a real coaching staff and real
exactly.
offensive coaching
Right.
around him and people that know what they're doing. Josh Allen was such an exception to the
He
rule
was. Yeah.
of NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Most quarterbacks that come out and suck for 2 years don't all of a sudden just like flip a switch and become MVP caliber players. Allen was pretty, if you look historically, like in the history of the NFL. Josh Allen was a rare, rare thing in how he just kind of hit that point, and all of a sudden he became an absolute stud from being like a guy that looked like a total bust. And let's face it, like
Mhm.
I know I was. Weren't we all laughing at Josh Allen
I
those in
was.
the first 2 years?
I totally was. I made a bet with the buddy that Sam Darnold was going to have a better career than him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was so down on him. I thought the Bills were going to be, again, just another blown mistake.
Yeah. It looked like
Yeah.
another EJ Manuel
Yes.
or, like, because
Yes.
who they had drafted a few years ago or that kind
Yeah.
of pick. He just looked like I mean, let's face it, for every one Josh Allen, the super talented, huge physical stud, for every one time that guy becomes Josh Allen, there's like 20 times he becomes Brock Osweiler or Blake
Exactly.
Bortles.
Or we're seeing it right now. Will Levis in Tennessee, right? Like the exact
Yep,
same.
that's a
Yeah.
good comp.
Seriously. So yeah, it's true.
And will it's so unlikely that Levis or will ever become I think a good quarterback in the league based on what we've seen in
Right.
the last 2 years. So, but Allen was a fluke. So I really think that for May we need to start seeing it this year. Like I don't want to go into the end of this year and be like hanging my hat that Drake May is going to become the next
Mhm.
Josh Allen, and be making excuses for him, because he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think with everything that they got going for them, all the improvements that are being made, you expect to see this team take a step, and not just the team, the quarterback, specifically the quarterback.
Let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, Justin, and let's get into this game. This is
Yeah.
obviously the major story in the league right now. And look, everyone and their mother is saying the exact same thing this week, which is the Eagles are the better team on paper, but how can you bet against Mahomes? I said it
Yeah.
to you last week, and you said it to me. As the week goes on more and more,
Yeah.
I feel more confident in Philadelphia winning this game on Sunday, because when I really think about it, I just think they're the much better team. And I get the whole Mahomes Reed thing. We've been talking about it since freaking October on this podcast. I don't want to totally dismiss them because they are obviously so great and they can win against anyone. And I know that, but I just feel like the Eagles are a much better team. And I've kind of changed my opinion over the last 2 weeks, but I'm leaning Eagles now, Justin. What are your thoughts on the game Sunday?
I got to say, at this point, I'm the most pro Eagles I've been, but with that being said, I'm still in the Chiefs. I'm still in the Chiefs. It went from me thinking that it was going to be a 2-score contest in the Chiefs' favor, a week or two ago, to now thinking, okay, it's not going to shock me if the Eagles pull this one off. Look, I'm still in the Chiefs. Look, I look at it and I say exactly what you said. Chiefs, how do you bet on Andy against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes? The Eagles are the better team on paper, but the Eagles are just, I feel like the classic team that would fall apart in this situation. Like, I feel like they're going to veer off of their game script and do something stupid. Like I could totally see us at the end of this game being like, how did Saquon Barkley only touch the ball so many times? Like, I could just see that being like so within their wheelhouse to do something so stupid and try to outsmart themselves. And on top of that, I just think that chemistry in that team is not as solid as everyone says. I could totally say, I think they're all volatile. I think Sirianni's volatile, AJ Brown's volatile, Jalen Hurts is volatile. They all have a volatile relationship with each other. I don't know. It just strikes me as the type of team that's going to fall apart in a game like this.
I agree with that point about them being volatile, but I have to believe that in the Super Bowl they'll be able to hold it together. Like I didn't like this Eagles team coming down the stretch, even
Yeah.
though they were playing great for so much of the year. And I think a lot of the football viewing public kind of really understated what the Eagles were doing on the field for that exact reason that we
Yeah.
just kind of saw what happened to them last year. We recognized the volatility and we realized, or I think a lot of us believed that it wasn't gonna last. And somehow they've made it to this point. I have to believe they'll be able to hold it together for a Super Bowl, though.
I mean, you would like to believe that. And look, I'm not saying they can't. You know, I just think that the Chiefs, if there is a team that can beat the Philadelphia Eagles right now as well as they're playing, I think it's the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Kansas City Chiefs have a very good defense at all three levels. They have the better head coach. They have the better quarterback, who is at this point not only one of the most clutch quarterbacks of all time, but he is the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. And they have experience. So they've just been there. They've done that. Like, I think this Chiefs team is built to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. If there's a team that could ever stifle Saquon Barkley and minimize the damage that he can do while not allowing Jalen Hurts to torch them through the air and still being able to put up points and find a way to scheme against this good Eagles defense and outsmart them and outcoach them, it's going to be this Chiefs team.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you can't underestimate the impact of Andy Reid and Mahomes and the experience factor. But let me ask you this, like, obviously that's been talked about a lot, the experience, and that's a clear check mark to the Chiefs, Justin. Do
Yeah.
you think that, one of the things that I think happened to the Detroit Lions a few weeks ago, we talked about, was that they were the team with all the pressure on them
Yeah.
and they lost. You go back to a long time ago, 2007 here, Patriots Giants, right? The Patriots had all the pressure on them because they were going for that undefeated season. The big story of this game is the Chiefs' chance to do a three-peat, something that's never been done before. Vaults Mahomes, Reid, the franchise into the
Yeah.
conversation as greatest dynasty ever. There's a lot of pressure on Kansas City. Do you think that this becomes one of those things where maybe they play like the team with a lot of pressure on them? And before you dismiss that, because I know what you're going to say, it's Reid
Yeah.
and Mahomes. If Brady and Belichick can lose that 18-0 game and kind of play tight that whole game, why can't Mahomes and Reid play tight in this situation?
I mean, I totally think they could. I just look at it and I say, I think the big thing that, it might seem minor, but I actually do think it plays a big factor into it, is you've beat this team in the Super Bowl, almost this exact same team, kind of sans Saquon Barkley, 2 years ago, right? So I feel like you have all the confidence in the world going into this matchup. I understand it's a big moment, but I feel like this team's built for big moments. And if you're able to put that moment aside, you're confident because you're playing a team that you've beaten before and you at the biggest stage. So I don't know. I just feel like that's the ultimate confidence boost, is going up against a team that you've beat in that exact same position before.
See, I see it as the Chiefs are playing the team playing with all the pressure on them. I feel like the Eagles are the team with nothing to lose. Maybe at this point, no one expected the Eagles to be here. They kind of flew under the radar as much as like a 15-2 team could. I think, in terms of like expectations, pressure, weight, and we've seen how impactful that can be. I think you have to say it's all on the Chiefs. The Eagles are the team that can just come out and let it sling. Now, who knows? Because like you said, I mean, the Eagles are also volatile, right? And
Right.
might not take much for them to trigger them. Um, Let me give you a couple of what I think the keys to the game are, Justin, and I want to hear what you think about these. Number one, I think this is the biggest key to the game right here. This is far and away the key to the game. The Kansas City Chiefs have not given up a 100-yard rusher since week one. And it wasn't a running back, it was a quarterback, Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson, that way back in September. They haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in a playoff game in 18 straight playoff games since 2019. So this Chiefs running defense is really good.
Yes.
Maybe the best in the league. Chris Jones probably doesn't get enough credit
Yeah.
for being one of the best defensive players in the NFL,
Yes.
maybe ever. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but
No.
look at what the guy's doing. The Eagles are built around this running game. Saquon Barkley has run through every opponent in the playoffs so far this year. Can the Philadelphia Eagles run the ball? To me, that's the first and most important question about this game.
Yeah, I think it all starts there. It totally hinges on how effective they can be. Because don't forget, if you can run the ball well, you can kill the clock a little bit more. You can slow the tempo down. You can keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. You can keep him on the sidelines, right? So it's a huge component. But I agree. I think that this Eagles run attack is gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be totally stifled. Like I don't think we're gonna be sitting there going, oh, they haven't been able to do anything all night. But I don't think they're gonna have a breakout game where they're rushing all over the place and they're making the Chiefs defense look stupid. I think the Chiefs defense is gonna be a formidable opponent. I think it's gonna be something where I wouldn't be shocked to see Saquon Barkley wind up in like the maybe. I don't know. I'd like 80 to like 110-yard range, like within that. I mean, I don't think he's gonna have a crazy game, but I do think he'll get his from time to time.
This is the classic like strength versus strength matchup.
Yeah,
Because it's the best running game and offensive line in the league versus the best running defense
right.
in the league. I will say this about it, Justin. If the Eagles are able to come out and somehow rush for 175 yards like they've done in the last two playoff games, then they will win this game going away.
It'll be very difficult for the Chiefs to win. Yeah, if the Eagles can run the ball all over them, yeah, super difficult. Yeah.
I don't want to say impossible, but I would say a two-score win for the Eagles if that happens. Okay, next one. Will Travis Kelce be able to be productive against this Eagles team? When you look and we talk about the Chiefs defense, let's not forget the Eagles have a terrific defense as well. In fact, this might well be the two best defenses in the NFL matching off. If you look, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but if you look at a defense that's built to stop Travis Kelce,
Yeah.
I think you could argue the Eagles they got some players on that defense that are made to defend tight ends. I'm thinking of like Blankenship, the safety, and they got that young linebacker there who's been terrific, and they got the Cooper DeJean. Like I I think Kelsey's gonna. I don't think Kelsey's gonna be running free in open space like we've seen him at some points in the postseason and regular season this year.
Yeah, I think I could definitely see it being a tough game for Kelsey. I think Kelsey's biggest. I think the thing that Kelsey could contribute the most this game, and obviously, yeah, if he had a big game, bunch of catches, yards, touchdowns, yeah, fantastic. But I don't see that for Travis Kelsey. I see him, having maybe a couple of key plays, maybe a big play or two, but I think he's going to be a distraction. I think Andy Reid in this offense is going to scheme up a way to use Travis Kelsey to be a distraction, to divert attention, in find ways to get their other guys involved. That's what the Chiefs team does best. It's what the Patriots team did. It's finding ways to get guys that you wouldn't even think would make another roster involved in playing active, meaningful minutes in a big game and contributing. That's what I think the Chiefs' approach is going to be. I think it's going to be Travis Kelsey decoy, and I think the other guys are going to get involved. And also too, I think the Chiefs. We just talked about for the Eagles how if they have a successful running game, then they'll be able to kind of keep Mahomes on the sideline and kind of set the pace of the game. I think the Chiefs have a very good offensive line. They have a very good running game. I think they're going to try to do the same. I think they're going to try to keep the ball out of the Eagles' hands as much as possible.
I mean, the Chiefs are still moving Joe Tooney to tackle, though. I mean, I don't think their offensive line is that good. And I mean, the linebacker, by the way, I was thinking of Zach Bond. Yeah, who's a terrific, almost was all pro, but made the Pro Bowl this year. I think the Chiefs' offensive line is kind of still in flux. And if you ask me, Justin, I really think the Chiefs are going to have a hard time scoring against this Philadelphia defense. And I think that is why as the week goes on, I am moving towards liking the Eagles more because I just look at it and I'm like, where does Kansas City have the matchup when when they're on the offensive side of the ball. We saw this Kansas City offense struggle all year long. They played their best game against Buffalo. I acknowledge that, but overall, they've really struggled at times to score points. That the AFC Championship game was the first time they scored more than 30
Yeah.
points, and I'm like, I look at this stacked Philadelphia defense, athletes at every level, Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, DeJean on the cornerback, the safety blanket chip, all the others. Where does Kansas City have the matchup here?
If I could be honest, though, I mean, if I think back to their last couple of Super Bowls, other than their loss to Tom Brady, I think both the matchups against the 49ers and the last matchup against the Eagles, I think you could make the argument that they were the less talented team on paper.
Yeah.
And that's honestly
Yeah,
the
that's
way,
fair.
and that's kind of the way I look at this. Is I look at the fact that the matchups don't necessarily look great for them. I think that Philly probably on paper has a better team, and and I don't disregard any of that. I just look and I say I personally considered Kansas City to be the lesser talented team in the last 3 Super Bowl victories that they had, and they proved me wrong each time and found a way to do it. So you know me, I've been saying it since the beginning. I'm not, as much as I could see Philly coming out and win, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to look at what's happened in the past, and I'm going to keep that Chiefs money line riding. I have to.
But this is also the least talented Chiefs team of all those teams, too, I think. You could say that as well.
I mean, I think defensively, well, honestly, I think it's a pretty identical team to last year, right? Like kind of a stagnant offense, solid. The defense is virtually the exact same crew, right?
Yes, similar. I think the offense is worse.
I mean, yeah, but look, last year's offense, don't forget, the Chiefs, we were all talking about how the offense didn't look good. They had a bunch of different problems. I mean, and the problems carried over this year. And then in the big games, they seem to find ways to make it work and click. I don't know. Again, on paper, like you said, the matchups favor the Eagles, but I gotta go with Magic Mahomes.
You bring up that 2019 Super Bowl, 2020 Super Bowl,
Yeah.
the Buccaneers Chiefs Super Bowl from a few years ago. And one of the enduring memories of that Super Bowl is really just Patrick Mahomes being on his heels the whole game, like having to really no time to throw the ball. That Tampa defense got after them. I see this Chiefs line, Joe Tooney at tackle, scrambling guys in and out. I look at this Eagles pass rush, one of the best in the league. I honestly wonder if the Eagles are going to get after Mahomes on Sunday a lot like that Tampa Bay defense got after him a couple of years ago.
They definitely could. And they're built for it. I mean, the Eagles defense they're freakish how talented they are and how deep they are. But it took a Tom Brady. It took a Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes is at this point he is kind of like the Tom Brady of the league, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think he's gonna have his work cut out for him. I could even see this being a comeback game. Like the Brady has his staple Atlanta comeback game. I don't think it could be quite the same deficit, but I wouldn't be shocked if you see like the Kansas City Chiefs come back in the second half from maybe like a 10-point deficit. I could see it.
See what I see happening, obviously I've kind of been hinting at this, but I think the Eagles defense gets after Mahomes.
Yep.
I don't know if the Eagles will be able to run the ball, but I think that they will find a way to score enough points. I think they will get some turnovers because I think they're going to be in Mahomes' face all day. And I think you're going to see a 10 to 14 point Eagles win on Sunday. Very similar to that Super Bowl 2 years in 2020. And I think you're going to see a very frustrated Mahomes the whole day. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be the Eagles defense ultimately that wins them this game against a really mediocre Chiefs offense.
Look, a 10 to 14 point lead is certainly if you're a betting person, that's something that would definitely pay you pretty well if you're trying to do some alt lines. I do actually kind of agree with you though, in the sense that I think if it's a close game, the Chiefs win. I think the only way the Eagles win is if it is somewhat of a blowout or a multi-score game. So
The one thing I will say about that, Justin, is if the Eagles are in a close game with the Chiefs and they have the chance to go for the jugular, they better damn well do it
yeah,
because you don't give the ball back to Mahomes, if it's a one score game. The Bills, I mean, they went for that quarterback sneak on fourth down and they
yeah,
got stuffed, but
yeah.
and that was the game right there. Because if the Bills get that, they probably win. If the Eagles are in a similar situation, they're going to have to take those chances
They totally will. Yeah, you gotta throw the kitchen sink at Mahomes and the Chiefs when you get the chance.
and take some gambles. Take
Yep.
some gambles. All right, let's talk about some of the prop bets. So we have a little disagreement on the Doctor Football podcast about who likes who, and
Yeah.
we'll see who's right at the end of the day.
Yes. I honestly look. Hey,
I'm predicting you're going to be right because I'm usually wrong.
but you know what? It's funny. It's because I agree with everything you're saying about the Eagles, and I'm just trying not to outthink myself. I'm saying, you know what? In the past, I gotta go with if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know.
Well, let's just say, like I say all this stuff, and I know on paper that I
Right.
think the Eagles are a much better team, and they should win this game.
They should.
But then it's like that Reed Mahomes magic, a team of destiny thing.
Yes.
Even the I guess this rumors the flu is going through the Eagles locker room this week, and it's like talk about a team that just gets every friggin' break possible. And it
Seriously.
gives me pause because it's been happening since week one. The Chiefs just feel like a team of destiny. And as I say this stuff, I'm like, am I really gonna bet against the Chiefs?
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough for sure. I mean, I think either way, at least it's one of those where you know what, either way you can justify putting your money there. I feel like it's, you can make a good enough argument for either side.
All right, let me tell you, I took four prop bets. I don't know if you want to share which ones you took, but I took four prop bets for the Super Bowl this year. I'm going to start with the first one
Okay.
chronologically. Tails never fails, except for
Classic.
last year when it did because it was heads, and I took heads and won. So now I'm switching up and I'm going tails this year on the coin toss. That's my first prop bet. At even money, I'll take my chances.
I feel like that is just like the quintessential like American bet right there. Just the coin flip
Yep.
at the national anthem.
Yep.
Like I love that.
It's
You got
the
to
bet
do
I'm
it.
most likely to cover, Justin.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
It's 50-50. I'll take that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you got to take those odds. So full disclosure, I'll be locking all of my prop bets in tomorrow. I've been waiting, but I got to do it tomorrow because when I'm in the Dominican, I won't be able to
Yes.
bet anything.
You better get those
Yes.
bets in before
So
you
I-
leave Massachusetts.
Yes, yeah. So I have time set aside for either tonight or early in the morning to get those bets in. But no, I love that. I'll be taking the coin toss as well. And I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but you know what? If you're riding tails, let's ride it. I'll do tails with you.
Let's do it, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Yep.
What about national anthem? You touching that?
No, I don't like touching the national anthem. It's so. I
Wow.
mean, yeah. I don't even know who's singing it.
Neither do I, but I feel like it's always a bag job. Like I feel like someone somewhere knows,
Yes.
and I feel like the casinos know
Yeah.
something we don't, and I don't think that's a good one to take.
No, I don't.
And I'm
either.
like, and I don't trust like how they count it because it's not objective.
Yeah. I who's keeping the official count? That's what I want to know. So.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And like you're gonna trust the casino or the house to accurately report the time. It usually does come down to a couple seconds. So I
Exactly.
don't touch that one. What
No.
about the Gatorade bath? You gonna touch that one? That's a big one this year too.
I feel like the Gatorade bath is a trap bet because I think they try to get you to bet the color that's closest to the color of the team. And it's always
Yep.
like something unrelated. You know what I mean? Like you'll try to bet like red for the Chiefs and it'll be like blue or something like that, you know?
Well, here's the rub on this one. It's actually been purple the last 2 years for the Chiefs.
Interesting. Okay.
So purple is the favorite. And I guess the Eagles have done green when they did the NFC Championship game last week. So that's the second favorite. So I think that's the pick. But
Interesting.
if you like
Okay.
the Chiefs, take purple.
Take purple. Okay. So I wonder if the Chiefs chose purple specifically for the last two victories or if it was random. You never know. But
I mean, that doesn't feel like it would be random. I mean, purple's kind of. I mean, it'd be pretty weird if that was just like, oh, we happened to pick purple.
well, you say favorite. Like, what type of variation are we talking about in the odds here? How are they handicapping these colors? Like
You know
what's
what? I
what's
don't
per
have the actual numbers, but I believe purple is actually minus like money. I think it's like minus 110 or something right now,
okay.
which is sounds like,
Well, you know what?
you know,
Not only is that indicative of uh the fact that they think it's intentional, but it's also indicative that the Chiefs are going to, it's lining right up at the odds that they think the Chiefs are going to
well, that's
win.
just
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
exactly the Chiefs are the favorite, and they
Right.
feel like, if it's gonna I mean, okay, I was a little wrong about that. Purple is the favorite. Hold on, let me just pull this up. Purple is the favorite. I'm trying to find a reliable number here. I'm going on ESPN bets. I'm enjoying ESPN. Can you just give me the damn number? I'll look this up, but
Okay.
yeah, purple is the favorite, and I think green is the color. If you like the Eagles, then I think you have to go with the green. Okay, what about this one, Justin? First score, always a popular choice for people to
Yeah.
bet on the first score of the game. I am going with the most boring, simple choice possible. I like Saquon Barkley at plus 450 to score the first touchdown of the game. I think that, look, I mean, he's a touchdown machine, and I just have a feeling that, the obvious pick will cover.
So I'm gonna go the opposite here. I think I just feel like everybody thinks it's Saquon, and for good reason, right? I think he should be the rightful favorite. He is the most obvious one. I'm gonna take the running back of the Chiefs. I'm gonna take Kareem Hunt. I believe last time I checked, he was about plus 900. Does that sound right? I don't know if you got it in front of you,
Yep,
but yeah,
that's a good pick.
plus 900. I think, yeah, I'm gonna take Kareem Hunt.
See, I always take someone way down the list. Like I pick someone like for the big score,
Yeah,
and it just like never covers ever. The last time I hit this prop, honest to God, was Dion Branch in Super Bowl 38 against the Patriots against the Carolina Panthers. He scored the first touchdown in that game. Remember, late in the second quarter,
yeah.
I took him and I hit big on that because he was a big underdog. But I always go for the big score, and then it's always the obvious choice. So I think this year I'm just going with the obvious choice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and even if you don't take him first, I'm sure anytime touchdown is a pretty popular one.
Well, that's a good bet too. And actually,
Yeah,
that was plus 275, which I kind of
really.
like
He
that
was
too.
Saquon anytime was plus 275. So
Yes,
look, like, okay,
yes.
listen, that is where it starts to get a little freaky for me because if you go and check the last couple of games, and this is playoff football, Saquon was like minus two something to score anytime. So
Maybe I got it backwards. Hold on. Like I don't want to report inaccurate information. Okay, I'm sorry. That was two plus TDs. If he has two TDs, it's plus
yeah.
275. Anytime TD for Saquon minus 195.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So that
That
sounds
makes
more
more
in line
sense.
with
My
what we've
bad.
been saying. Okay, so all right, that sounds more like because I was going to say if they went to plus two something, then they must begging people to be taking it. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
And
it's
they know his leg fell off or something
yeah,
this week. Yeah, odds like
exactly.
that.
So I mean, yeah, yeah, it's tough to bet against Saquon Barkley for sure. But they also make it tough to bet on him because they just give you no value. I mean, two plus touchdowns, only two something. I mean, that for most players, two plus touchdowns is a pretty decent payday.
Yes. Well, the next closest one is Hurts at plus 500, and I don't love that either. I feel
No,
like that's low.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
I
So
totally agree.
so and then yeah, Kareem Hunt is plus 900 to score the first touchdown,
Yeah,
plus 950 to score two. So that's a great value play right there.
I think I'm gonna sprinkle some of that in there. I do.
Yeah, I might throw a little something on that too, just to hedge a little bit.
Right.
All right. Next one that I took is I found this prop on DraftKings. Jalen Hurts to have 25 plus pass yards in every quarter was plus money, plus 155. All he's got to do is throw for 25 yards in all four quarters. I feel like that's a decent bet. I know they haven't been, throwing the ball up and down the field or anything like that, but I feel like they probably are going to have to throw the ball some to win this game. And I just feel like 25 yards, that's not a lot of yards. So I took a flyer on that.
Yeah, no, I like that, and it's really not a lot of yards. I'll say though, I had never really dabbled with bets like that, and then I took a bet in the AFC or NFC Championship game with Hurts in Jaden Daniels, and the bet was for each of them to have 20 or more yards per quarter, and that
Yeah,
lost. And I thought that was
yeah,
like a surefire lock. So
really.
yeah, I don't know. I guess we'd be surprised to see how that shakes out sometimes. But it sounds like it's a great value. I mean, he should have 20 passing yards or more, or 25 passing yards or more in all four quarters. Like you said, if they want to stay in the game and compete, they're going to have to move the
It's,
ball.
I mean, I did 0.0 research on this. So I might be the sucker that just like saw that and said, "Oh, 25 yards, what's that?" I mean, if you really wanted to study this, you should go look quarter by quarter
Yeah,
over his split through the year.
right.
And you might be surprised at how often he has a quarter where he throws under 25 yards. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that is the case, which is why the odds are actually so favorable to you.
Yeah, yeah, and who knows? Maybe they think both teams are going to come out and the defenses are going to be firing, and it's going to take the offenses a little time to settle into the game. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it too. Okay, halftime show, Justin. What do you think? Any interest in the Kendrick Lamar and halftime show? A lot of people talking about it. Going to be completely honest, don't understand it. I don't understand the beef with Drake. I don't understand the song. Went way over my head. Grew up listening to hip hop music, so it's not that. Just completely out phased. I'm phased out of the generational thing, so I don't even get it. What's your take on the halftime show?
I mean, look, I like Kendrick Lamar. Um, I also don't really understand the whole like beef thing. As far as a halftime show, I think it could potentially be good, but if it's good, it's gonna have nothing to do with the Drake beef in that one specific song. It's because Kendrick Lamar is a pretty good artist with a pretty decent body of work. So I hope that it's more so focused on that, and less about this weird artificial beef that got created kind of out of nowhere. Um,
Yeah,
but
totally, right?
but I will say though, in the grand scheme of things, I get it. He's super relevant this year because of all that stuff. But when I think of halftime shows, maybe it's just me. I like to think of like the classics. Like I kind of think I feel like it should be like well known, well established like musicians from the past that come to make a special appearance at the halftime show. Like that to me, like getting that like nostalgic kind of buzz is what the halftime show should be
But they're
about. That's
out
my
of all them
preference.
because they've either gotten old or died,
Yeah,
or they've already done.
I guess you're
There's no
right.
one
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
There's literally no. When I went to the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, Patriots Eagles, the first Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I was so lucky because the opening show before the game was the Black Eyed Peas. They did like a 6 or 7 set song. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then the halftime show was Paul McCartney,
Oh,
who
yeah.
was unbelievable. So that was like so lucky. But those big name acts are just there's not many of them that haven't done it already. So I feel like they're kind of like running they're running out of options. And I mean, let's face it, Kendrick Lamar is as big a name as anyone in music right now. So I think that's where it comes from. How great would it have been if they could have convinced Taylor Swift to do it? It would have been perfect, but I guess she's not interested.
Oh, that would have just screamed bias. That would have got the people freaking going. I think if you
Oh,
if
that would
you
have got the people
tried to
going.
do that, yeah.
Um, what about Trump? Trump, first sitting president to ever attend a Super Bowl. Justin, your thoughts on Trump being in the house for Super Bowl 59?
You know what? I think regardless of where you stand politically, like you look at like the NFL is like being like, I know they call it baseball America's pastime, but NFL is without question like the dominant sport of the era. And I feel like it's just such an American pastime to it. And you know what? The Super Bowl, such a big event. Like, what more quintessential sporting event can you think of than the Super Bowl? It's like to have the sitting American president there. I think that's super cool. I'm actually shocked to find out he's the first one to go to the game.
He's the first sitting president to go to the
Yeah,
game.
no, I think that's. I think honestly that is surprising to me. I'm shocked another president hasn't gone. I did hear something that was interesting though, because I know they were saying Kendrick Lamar is avid anti-Trump, so they were saying there might be some sort of possibility for some political sparks flying. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that, see if there's any sort of messages sent during the halftime show. But I think regardless of where you stand, I think it's cool to have the president at the Super Bowl.
I mean, I think it's a ballsy move by Trump. I mean, this guy, he just clearly doesn't care, right?
Super ballsy.
And I just mean, like, you guy's been a victim of an assassination attempt twice in the last few months, and he's going into a stadium with like 70,000 people, and it is the most secure place in the world. But, you know, just the way Trump has like a bullseye on his back, and it's like, you know, I don't know. Do you trust everyone there? I mean, people are so radically divided right now. You know, all it takes is a couple lax security guards to be like, I'm not really searching these people because I don't give a shit about the president or something like that, and someone could slip something in. So I think it's kind of crazy. I'm trying to like think to myself, like, if I have been going to that game, would I be scared to be there knowing that Trump is there? The last time I went to the Super Bowl, I wasn't scared at all because it's just like the most secure place in the world. And the first time I was a little scared because it was a couple of years after 9/11, but even then it was so secure that it's just like, it's once you get in the stadium, I mean, it's like more than getting on an airplane. I don't know. Would I be nervous if I was there knowing that Trump's there and just knowing how he kind of does have a bullseye on him at this point?
I mean, I'd definitely be nervous if I was sitting like directly below his booth. I mean, you know, maybe if you're like clear shot on the side of the stadium, you're feeling a little better. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely, like you said, it's definitely a gutsy move. I'd be shocked if there wasn't a couple of politically charged incidents, you know, whether that's just people in the crowd or maybe demonstrations.
There'll be something weird that happens. Like someone will run out in the field. It's gonna be something like that.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if you could take a prop on that. If there's any sort of political demonstration during the Super Bowl. Yeah. I don't know.
Justin, you're a true bettor. You're always looking for an opportunity to capitalize on a take. I love it.
Yeah. You know, you just gotta, you gotta look at it at the angle that, I mean, I could see the value being through the roof. I could see there being just astronomical odds, and the likelihood of somebody doing something like that is, I think, higher than most people think. So I don't know. I'd be looking for it.
No doubt. This is going to be an opportunity for people to make political statements somehow, some way, whether it's on commercials, whether it's in the stadium, whatever it is.
Right.
You know, with him being there in person, it's just going to draw that out of the woodwork. I mean, in a sense, I almost wish he wasn't going, because I feel like it just kind of opens the door to that stuff and takes the focus a little off the game. But it is what it is. He'll be there.
I do.
Let's talk.
Sorry, no, I do agree with that. I was going to say, I think it's cool for him to be there as a spectator and observe the game, but I really don't want there to be any sort of political interference with the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl. It has nothing to do with politics for me. I want to focus on football. I want to watch football. I want to talk football.
Justin, that's how people thought in the 80s and 90s, but in today's world, it's no longer how people think. People think that their message, whatever it might be, takes precedence over everyone else's, whatever, anything else from anyone else. That's the way things are now culturally. So I'd be shocked if someone doesn't take this opportunity to do something, you know, just to draw attention to some cause or something like that, because he's there.
For sure.
All right. Let's talk a little. We talked about how, and we can end on this, how this whole Super Bowl might affect the Chiefs Patriots kind of comparison if the Chiefs are to somehow win this game on Sunday. And let me just say this, that I've never rooted against the Chiefs. I've never been a Chiefs hater, and I'm still not, but I am actively rooting for the Eagles and against the Chiefs, really, for maybe the first time this year. And it is because I don't even want the Chiefs to be in the conversation with the Patriots as a dire Patriots fan. And I'm just being honest. I think that if Reed wins the Super Bowl, you could make a legitimate argument that he is Belichick's equal. I think if Mahomes wins this Super Bowl, you could make a legitimate argument that he did something Brady has never done before. And in a way, he's going to have, you can't argue Mahomes is the GOAT over Brady right now. But if Mahomes wins 4 out of 6, then you're going to say, what's better? 7 and 19, 4 out of 6, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's going to have something against Brady. And And I think that you could say the same thing about the Chiefs dynasty versus the Pats dynasty. Having 4-6 has never been done. Winning three in a row has never been done. So I really want the Chiefs to lose this game, Justin. I don't know what your thoughts are on all that.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously it's tough for the dynasty, but I will say, the one thing that the Patriots did that, obviously is yet to be seen with this Chiefs team is the Patriots essentially rebuilt twice, right? Like
Yep.
those two different streaks. I mean, other than Tom Brady and a couple of maybe select few guys, there was not too much turnover, or there's not too much crossover from that first three Super Bowl stretch to the second three Super Bowl stretch.
There was really none.
Right.
There was really,
In
except for Vince Wilfork.
Right. And you know what? And because of that, I have to say that, that to me is still the most impressive part about it. The fact that they did it for that long and they did it twice with two separate rosters. That to me will still stay above 4 out of 6 in a three-peat. But you could definitely say that this era Chiefs is better than either the 2000s or the 2010s Patriots individually.
If the Chiefs win this game on Sunday, then they will have the best dynastic run in terms of just one group and one dynasty and one 5 to 7 year run. It's going to be unmatched in the NFL. No one's won 4-6. No one's won 3 in a row. And you're right. The Patriots, the two bookends of their dynasty would neither one, I think, would be able to compare to what the Chiefs have done in the last 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and if the Chiefs can, I know I'm saying overall, I think it's more impressive to do it twice at 2 separate points, and 6 is certainly better than 4. But, you talk about if the Chiefs are able to get 4 in 3 in a row at this point in Patrick Mahomes' career, the door is wide open for him to have a back end resurgence, much like Brady. Or why even have to wait that long? He could continue this going. He could be winning intermittent Super Bowls every other year, every 3 years for the next decade. I mean, who knows? The guy is still, I think, 28, 29 years old, something like that. 30 years.
He's 29.
29.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not even 30 yet.
No. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a little presumptuous to just assume that Mahomes is going to age like Brady aged for a lot of reasons. The nature of his game being one of them, and just sheer dumb luck. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, the Patriots were able to rebuild and reload and win 3 more at the end.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way the Chiefs are going to go carry this thing for 19 years, 18 years, whatever. Like, I just don't see that happening. So I think the Chiefs thing is going to last a few more years, and then I think it's going to fall apart. But if they win 5 or 6 titles in that time, then that's going to be hard to argue that the Patriots had the better dynasty. Unless we forget, and you bring this up all the time, the Patriots went 10 years between Super Bowl titles from 2004 to 2014. And, there was a lot of winning in that 10 years. There was a lot of losses and a lot of frustrating, heartbreaking losses in Super Bowls, championship games, and in the playoffs. And I don't know if you hold that against the Patriots when it's all said and done, but I have a hard time seeing the Chiefs do something, where they don't win for 10 years and then they have a second renaissance at the end of it. I think they're on a tear now, and I think if they do win 6, it's going to be like 6 and 8 or 9 years, and then that's going to be hard to match.
I agree. I mean, look, the other thing is you just got to look at the dynamics, right? Obviously, Kelsey is going to be gone soon, and eventually that Chiefs roster will turn over. But the Andy Reid component of it, right? Does Andy Reid have another 10, 12 years left of coaching, right?
No, he doesn't.
So, I mean, Belichick had the fortune of starting off from a younger starting point than Reid did with the Eagles. So, I mean, he's got time working against him too. So, I think their window to do that is less than the Patriots.
And I'm going to say something crazy. I said this a few months ago, and I'm not diminishing that he isn't a terrific, amazing generational player. I think you can already start to see little signs that Mahomes' game is diminishing just a little bit. I think he misses a lot of throws that he used to hit, I don't think he's quite as mobile as he used to be. So Brady found this fountain of youth, right? And he was able to do it for so long because he had just found this fountain of youth. And a lot of that had to do with the way he played the game. I don't know if Mahomes is going to have that. I think you saw it a little bit this year, a little bit of their struggles this year. Everyone will probably jump on me for saying this. A little bit of the Chiefs' struggles this year was because Patrick Mahomes was just a little bit less effective than he had been in the past.
Yeah, and his numbers showed it. Wasn't a great year. So, yeah.
Watch him play. He misses more throws than he used to.
Yeah.
But if they go out and win like 5-7 or 4, even 4-6, I mean that's gonna be something that they'll always be able to hold against Patriots fans and the Patriots dynasty and say, hey, we did this and the Patriots did.
100%. So yeah, I mean, like I said, my wallet's betting in the Chiefs, but my heart's with the Eagles. So.
Yeah. My other thing, Justin, I'll say about this is I think you could argue already that Reed has already had a better coaching career than Belichick.
That's tough. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Who did better without their GOAT quarterback?
Well, I mean, Reed still had decent quarterbacks. I mean, he had Donovan McNabb, who was pretty good. He had Alex Smith, who was I mean, he was good. I wouldn't say great, but he was good. I mean, I don't know. I think that's tough to say. I think if Reed had won one pre Patrick Mahomes, I think you could have a pretty solid argument for it. And he almost did. I mean, but Belichick, right?
He made 4 straight conference championship games in the early 2000s. I mean, they were consistently winning in the postseason. They just couldn't get over the hump. Remains a small black mark on his resume, and I think Reed has been a successful coach wherever he's been, whoever has been his quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely had success. That's true. He did have some good years. Yeah, how old is Reed, by the way?
He's in his like mid 60s. I can look it up if you want.
Mid 60s. Okay. All right, so he's probably he's got some years left, but no, I don't
66.
66.
Yes.
I mean, all right. Let's put it this way. It would be tough to get another decade out of Andy Reid. So it's
hard to see the game passing Reed by, like it passed Belichick by too. Like just the way that Belichick coached and the defense and the hard-nosed, physical 80s Giants kind of, thing. The game moved away from that. It's like the game has moved towards Reed's, wheelhouse, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he's definitely been one of, I think, the pioneers of adapting in being at the forefront of kind of challenging the status quo in terms of offenses that we were used to, and what we were just used to seeing in general. So, yeah, I mean, look, I like Andy Reid. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good coach. And I'm happy for him. I enjoy seeing him win. I think he's a class act, honestly.
Okay. One more quick topic, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Josh Allen, NFL MVP. We talked a little about this a couple times this year. I got no problem with this. I think Allen deserved it. I think Lamar Jackson deserved it. You have to understand that fatigue with a certain player has always been a factor in the MVP voting. If it wasn't, every single friggin' year. So I think if he finally get one, he deserved it. He earned it. He played it with him getting the MVP this year.
Yeah, I there was an argument, I think, for a couple guys, and I think he was the best choice. Honestly, he did have his best season. At least Bills fans, they can hang their hats on that. They got something out of the year, right? They got an MVP for their quarterback. And you know what? I think what you saw this year out of Josh Allen, and I get he was beaten a couple categories statistically, some of the numbers by some of the other quarterbacks, but I think when you talk about the most valuable player, you look at a quarterback elevating his team. uh, Josh Allen did so much with so much more with so much less than some of these other
Yeah.
quarterbacks. I mean, you look at the talent that like Lamar Jackson has around him, that Joe Burrow has around him, that like Saquon has around him. It's like not even close to what he was working with. And so I think it was as good as his stats were. I know, like I said, he didn't have the best stats in some of the categories. His impact and his value in terms of how he dominated games and helped his team win games, I think he's clearly the MVP.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point about the on-field talent, and I thought of that as well, which is Lamar had way more weapons to go out there with. But I think we should also mention coaching talent, and and
Yeah.
and I think that John Harbaugh is one of the best offensive minds and for a long time. And the Bills, I McDermott and, and I'd say a somewhat vanilla offense. So you're right. I mean, you got to consider that too. And Allen did more, or I don't know if he did more, but what he did with less.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. So yeah, kudos to Josh Allen. I mean, he still has that monkey on his back that he's gonna have to get over. But yeah, it was a great year for him, and he's got a lot to I guess to build on and look forward to. So I'm glad he won.
And then me too. I'm glad he won. One last little quick thing for wrap it up. Hall of Fame class yesterday. I don't know what the hell pick the Hall of Famers for the NFL right now, but how is Eric Allen a Hall of Famer and Rodney Harrison isn't? Adam Vinatieri isn't. I mean, come on. Adam Vinatieri is the best kicker in the NFL with several of the most quintessential moments
Yeah.
in NFL history. So, like, how do you exclude Vinatieri from this? Eric Allen has been eligible for 19 years. Sterling Sharp has been eligible since the 90s. How are these two? Jared Allen, I mean, was a good player, but I never felt like he was one of the best players in the league. I just don't understand how they picked these guys and passed on, I would say, better players.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a couple people. I mean, look, I still don't even think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't understand what he's doing up there either.
He's not in yet. He's up next year.
Oh, is that what
He's
it
up
was
next year.
Is that okay? Next year. Sorry, I thought I saw something on. I thought I saw him.
You're thinking maybe a Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner wasn't a Hall of Famer. How the hell is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I mean, Jerome Bettis. Jerome Bettis was the Mike Greenwell of the NFL. Mike Greenwell, his career numbers look great when you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, when was Jerome ever one of the best backs in the league? Maybe 1 year, and then he just hung on for 12 years, piled up a bunch of volume stats, and now he's a Hall of Fame. I don't know how they're picking some of these guys.
Yeah. No, I don't know either. I don't know who's got the votes, but I think some people, sometimes there's a little bit of bias, and I think there's sometimes just a little bit of ignorance too. I think some people just aren't as caught up as they should be.
Yeah, and the most glaring admission, Justin, is Rodney Harrison. I mean, Rodney Harrison is one of two players in NFL history, I think, with 30 sacks and 30 interceptions, the other being Ray Lewis. He won several Super Bowls. He made the All-Pro team. He made the Pro Bowl. He is a Hall of Famer by every definition, and he's excluded mainly because wasn't popular in his playing career, and people didn't like him, and so they won't vote for him now 20 years later. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, super crazy. You hate to see stuff off the football field affect and impact something like that. That's, such like a legacy making achievement,
Absolutely. Well, all right, man. Any other thoughts on this whole thing before we wrap it up? Super Bowl 59.
No,
anything at all?
Give me a final score.
33-20 Eagles.
33-20 Eagles. All right. I'm gonna go.
Mahomes will be running around all day.
Okay. I'm gonna say 29-23 Chiefs. 29-23 Chiefs.
All right. Well, we'll see who comes out on top. Wherever you go, whoever you watch it with, whatever you end up doing, enjoy it. I'll say that to you, and I'll say it to the whole audience. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. The weather's going to be bad. hunker down somewhere and take an Uber or cab home and enjoy the game, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks for listening.